I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back!
Yo, what's up? Mike from Copville here to talk about Tasty Gains creatine gummies. I would never push a product I don't use. I didn't take creatine until I ran into Tasty Gains and started taking these gummies because they're simple. No powder, no mixing, just pop a gummy in, 1 gram of creatine per gummy. What are the benefits of creatine? Increase water to the muscles to get that sick pump in the gym. Better recovery, more power during your workout, and studies are now showing it's helping with the brain, which I need all the help I can get. So go to tastygains.com, use code COPVILLEOG for 20% off. This is the real deal, simple, easy, and we'll get that pump going so you look good for the ladies or men. What's going on, guys? Another episode of Locked Up with Copville. I have a special guest today, Rich Bellini, who was a former Lee County Sheriff's Deputy for old Carmine Marceno over there. I made a reel about him saying he was a crook, and I got a lot of responses. Most of them agreed with me. Rich reached out reference to a problem he had over there with the sheriff's office, the administration, and kind of shed some light on what goes on. I told you guys I was going to bring real topics for cops getting screwed, going after admin, and I don't think there's a better episode than this that relates to that. So, Rich, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark.
So I'm gonna play the reel real quick that I played that led to you reaching out to me. This is the old sheriff over there acting like himself.
Jumpsuits are red. Justice is sweet. Commit a crime in Lee County, and your ass will get beat.
First of all, that is one of the dumbest things I've heard a sheriff say, and I got a lot for the people who have no idea who he is, what he's about. First, I said the crook thing. He's been under FBI investigation. There's headlines about that. There's issues, some story about it paying a dispatcher. I'm not digging into all that. He was all against racing, and then he got caught racing on video with a car. Multiple things. But that video, to me, one, I can hear somebody whispering. You can hear, so if you listen really well, somebody is whispering to him like the words, like they're telling him what to say. Two, you can't say that as the sheriff. And you get like the Grady Judd fanboys and the Wayne Ivey fanboys, and now this guy. It sounds really cool until you go beat somebody's ass and you get arrested, fired, or your career's over, and then you got to like say, well, this guy told me. Well, he really didn't say it. That's a really dumb thing to say. But Rich, thanks for coming on. I know you got a pretty cool story to tell us about your dealings with them. So first of all, what do you think of that? What do you think of that video? Like, as a cop, what does that say to you?
When you're in Lee County, it's just anything he does, everybody has to be like, hey, good job. Yeah, we love this guy. Awesome. It's because, or else. Yeah. And so, a lot of us are just cringe. Like, we really can't be bragging like that or boasting like that or even talking like that.
But like any agency, you're kind of forced to pretend like it's cool or you're going to be ostracized and an outcast.
Yeah, I would know, so.
Yeah, we talked a little bit, and I know you got some surprises for me, but go ahead. I want you to, in your words, just explain why you're not a Lee County deputy anymore, and we'll kind of go through that conversation on what happened to you and what admin can do, and why we're here having these podcasts and this page is to bring these things to light. So why don't you give us a little insight to the Lee County Sheriff's Office?
Okay. So I was with the Lee County Sheriff's Office since 2015. I had a very good career. I worked for some amazing people, and there really are amazing people in there. They're people I would throw my last mag to and, die fighting next to them. So I got in the K9 unit in 2019, and I've been a K9 handler up until 2023. Okay, so in 2023, around December, someone we used to work with did something pretty stupid, really bad on duty. Okay, which prompted a criminal investigation.
And we're not clearly we're not here to defend anything that guy did. You're not here to defend that.
No,
You're
not at all.
Somebody you worked with did something silly. We're not going to talk about that, but nothing that you did. You didn't have anything to do with it. You weren't involved in the incident. Nothing at all. Okay.
Nothing at all. Not involved. But this is the start of it all. This was like the catalyst. This one event. So
Okay.
that's just where the story has to start, unfortunately.
Yep. Understood.
So he gets called in, and like when another criminal investigation, detectives take over, and they say they need his personal phone because he was having contact with whoever he had his issue with. So there's multiple, I've heard multiple things that, he either willingly handed over and was like, yeah, no problem, here you go. Or, they saw something, was like, hey, what's this? Or they obtained a search warrant, so
But you have to this day, you have no idea which one of those stories is true.
not completely, no. I
Okay.
hear three different things,
Okay.
So the command staff, the sheriff, the undersheriff, they tell detectives that when they're done downloading this phone, we want everything. So they go through hundreds of thousands of personal conversations. Mind you, this is all taking place on the personal phone. Nothing was on the work phone. That would be a death sentence, but these are on the personal phone, on personal conversations that had nothing to do with what he did outside of this criminal investigation.
Which they knew. Obviously, there's a victim. They know exactly who the victim is. I would think, even in a search warrant, which would be the most legal route to go. In a search warrant, you are tied to, I'm looking for specifically this. And if it's consent, to me, it falls under the same guidelines. Is if I'm going into a house to look for drugs, I'm looking for drugs. I'm going to the house to look for a chainsaw that's stolen. I can't look in drawers in the kitchen. I can't look in little bags. If I'm looking for conversation between party A and party B, a search warrant is going to tie you to the scope of that specific messaging thread, in my opinion. So, and then consent would go probably similar, because if I'm telling you, go ahead and search my phone, and this is what you're looking for, I'm kind of consenting. But no, any good investigator knows you don't get consent in a criminal case when it's so easy to get a search warrant. So that's my 2 cents on my knowledge of search warrants, and they're pretty specific on what you can look for.
Yes.
So they're looking for a specific incident between A and B.
Yes.
Okay.
And they went outside the legal boundaries, more boundaries, looked in private conversations. So they stumbled upon a group chat between me, my sergeant, and
I got to make the joke. I got to make the joke because I've made the meme.
Yep.
The group chat got leaked. Like,
I'm the meme living. I'm the meme manifesting.
I made one where there's like a bunch of dudes diving out windows, rolling down steps. The group chat got leaked. And
the group
what
chat
a worse
got
place
leaked.
for what a worse. The only one worse is if the ER nurse group chat gets leaked to the wives. But this is equally as bad when the shift group chat gets leaked to the administration. Is what happened to you.
Yeah.
I don't envy you at all.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm the meme manifested, so I can wear that badge.
I get it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make another one now after this.
Oh, definitely. Please use my face. That'd be great. So, they find a message, a text that they say I wrote in this group chat that really, really upset the number 2 in charge, who I, just don't respect in the slightest. I'll say that out flat out. And they're saying that went through the rumor mill. That got through the Rich Bellini said this, Rich Bellini texted this, and all that stuff. I'm like, that sounds like something I might say, but I'm like,
so as far as you know, it's what is it off your it's deleted off your phone. You don't have that conversation anymore.
I got new phones. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so so you don't recall, but this rumor mill starts. Let me slow down a little bit. How far after all this happens do you start hearing like the rumor mill about this group chat being leaked? Is it pretty quick? Or?
This was pretty instant. So this got pretty. So one day,
cops can't keep secrets. So I'm sure whoever was the investigator was probably like, "Bro, you're not gonna believe this." They were talking some big shit, and they're calling all their buddies and all that stuff. So it does the typical agency spread around, and everybody's talking about it. Okay,
right. So this incident happens one day, and then the next day, someone else in our unit got set up, which was it was proven to be false accusation on his another personal matter, and I'm not defending that, whatever it may be, but
due to this group chat.
No, this is a separate incident. But what this separate incident did was make the administration disband our K9 unit, so we were no longer a centralized unit. Now we were putting districts.
So the first guy is K9, the one that does the first incident. You're K9, and now another guy just decides this is a good time to do something else crazy.
He didn't.
And
that's the thing. He
does
didn't
something
do
that they don't like.
It was a a call for service that came in from
Okay.
so, but nothing he did. Put it that way.
So they disband the entire agency canine unit.
Yes.
Wow.
So they let us keep our dogs, but now we're deputies with dogs in the districts instead of a centralized unit.
Okay.
So we're in the well, after the second incident happened, we get a text from our special operations commander that he wants to have an emergency meeting at our canine building. So we go there and we're like, okay, we're probably gonna get our ass chewed for what this idiot did before the first whatever happened and all that stuff. I think that ass chewing was probably maybe two minutes. And then immediately it jumped into him saying they have all our messages, they have all our texts, so they see everything, guys, and they're pissed. And I'm like, oh, I mean, what the hell could they have found? I mean, I talk shit every day. I run my mouth every damn day.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty personal. I'm gonna say it's pretty personal. There and guys that get caught on body camera or guys that get caught on like accidentally download phone. It's one of those things you just feel bad. And I'm not talking about somebody dropping an N-word or something completely uncalled for, but sometimes we say silly things or we call this guy's a pussy or this guy's a stuff everybody says that's not meant to get out. It's something that I would tell my wife something, or I would tell my best friend something like, hey man, this is how I feel about this. That's between me and you. Now in today's world, that really doesn't last anymore and it goes on the internet and everything, but it's pretty shitty that something like that gets out and then used against you. So that's a rough situation.
Yeah. So from that meeting, I'm going to give it maybe 2 weeks, in the districts. And then that's when I heard through a friend of mine, Mike Hollow, the one I mentioned earlier, that he told me like, hey, they're looking to put you in the district, take your dog from you. And I'm like,
big mad.
Okay. Over like something they're saying I wrote that, no one approached me about. No one is like, it's one thing like, you talk shit to somebody, or it's write something about it and they find out to be like, hey man, you got something to say? No, not these people. Not these people, man. Those days are done,
Same thing happened to me. I talked big shit publicly on Facebook and nobody was willing to talk about it. Yeah. They still aren't. So yeah, they do what they do.
Right. So I call a special operations commander and I tell him like, look, man, like if all this is because of like something I wrote or they say I wrote, they're telling me I wrote this. Let's have, let me just apologize to the idiot so I can save my unit. Let me just get this over with, because now it's, and then I ask and I constantly ask like, how did you guys get that message? How did you find that? How did you stumble upon that? And I've yet to, they've yet to release that information.
You're saying this is an old message. This is so old that you don't even have it anymore.
Yeah.
And your buddy there decides he wants to be the Encyclopedia Britannica, and he decides to keep the whole damn thing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you get a signal group, and you have that disappearing after one day. That's
hindsight's 2020.
That's how you're supposed to do it. But okay.
Yeah. So he, my commander hangs up. He calls the sheriff. He calls the sheriff, Marceno, and he's like, "Look, Bellini," he says, Bellini wants to have a meeting. Just apologize for what he wrote or whatever. And so my commander calls me back and he says, so the sheriff said that if Bellini wants to save himself, he needs to come clean about everything. I'm like, what the fuck? For an apology? Like, okay. So they scheduled the meeting for the next day at I want to say 8 or 9 a.m. Right. And
that's a big deal. I mean, getting a meeting with the sheriff the next day is pretty fucking.
Yeah, just to apologize.
Yeah,
to apologize to the idiot in charge, like number 2. Yeah. You know what I mean? So on my way to this meeting, I get a text from my commander again. He's like, "Hey, so it's gonna be me, the sheriff, and the undersheriff." I'm like, okay. And then I get another text a little bit later that says, actually, it's going to be me, the sheriff, the undersheriff, the chief, and 2 more of his, command, I don't know, part of his entourage or whatever like that.
You're going to walk into the Joe Pesci room in Casino.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I've seen, I was thinking, I've seen this movie, man. I'm done. I'm right now. And
yeah,
crap. So I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm just apologizing. You need the whole gang there? You know, and what hurt the most was the two other men that were going to be in that meeting. The like his other commanders, I forget their positions, but you know, I worked for one of them when I was a district deputy, and then I worked with the other one who was in a fugitive warrants unit. So you know, for them to be a part of this and just play their game, I mean, I kind of get it, but I'm like, guys, like, you know who I am. Like, if this is you're gonna let them chop my head off over this, all right. So we get in. I get into the meeting. I think I'm about maybe 20 seconds into my apology, right? Where the sheriff just cuts me off and he says, Rich, we have thousands of messages. We have hundreds of pages. Like, we know everything. We just want to hear it from you. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is the most rookie line I've ever fucking heard. I think I used that on somebody the night before.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's like day one FTO. Like, hey man, I know you got crack in your pocket. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm like, that was okay, cool. So now I'm legitimately bewildered. I'm confused. I'm like, what do you know? If you know everything, you don't need me. So,
Yeah,
you know, like, I'm not an idiot.
yeah.
Like, I'm not a rookie at this point. Like, I'm like, okay, so what's going on? So I play the song and dance, you know, because now they're threatening my canine career, like threatening to take my dog. And, you know, as a handler, you know, they tell you not to love your dog, but you build a bond with that dog, you know.
It's impossible.
And
it's impossible.
you know, numerous tracks, numerous bites and fines, you know, two officer involved shootings, you know. So you get tight with that dog. So I'm thinking like, man, crap, I don't want to lose this, you know, this opportunity, but I'm playing the song and dance. And it becomes a political shred session, like a round table, just ripping me apart about my association with Michael Hollow, who ended up running against Carmine and exposing everything that is coming out now. But they, for some reason, had some hint or inkling.
This is before he runs, though. This is before.
They
know he's going to run yet.
No, they haven't. I guess they might have had a hint or something. Okay. You know, and they know how close I am. Mike is very close to me. I'm very close to Mike.
And I went through this, and I'm actually wearing the hat of the guy who ran. He lost, but he was the better candidate. And I understand very well now when they even think you might be associated with the other candidate, it gets wild, and it gets wild enough that you get like transferred to the jail or the courthouse after an election. So I know that whole like that tiptoe dance of like, is this guy on the other team? Does he think? So I can imagine if they think he's running and they think you're covering for him, it's a big problem to them.
Yeah. So they know how close I am to him, and I guess my former coworker, the one that did that dumb thing,
the first guy,
yeah, the first guy, had more, you know, had contact with Michael Hollow too. So they just assumed that like I was contacting him, and they're asking me like, you know, tell us and they flat out said, tell us what we want to know about Michael Hollow, you know, and I'm like, what the hell do you want to know? Like, I don't know. Like, if they're like, does he want to run? Is he going to run against the sheriff? And they were asking me about a couple of other people that were, you know, kind of close to Mike too in the canine unit. They asked about two other sergeants.
I'd imagine you guys are having group chats about possible candidates. This guy might run. I mean, that's normal. That's normal banter among deputies.
Yeah, not in ours, honestly.
Yeah, well, something must have triggered them, but
because at the time, you know, at the time I'm in the sheriff's office, and you know, like from the inside looking in, I'm like, you know, Carmine's taking care of me. You know, I got a good paycheck. Yeah, you know, he backs, you know, like he backed our uses of force with the dog bites, you know, and we were clear and good with them. But you know, now it's immediately a turn on because like I pissed off his little buddy. You know, so they asked about two other sergeants, one that used to be my sergeant on my shift, and the other one that used to have a job with Michael Hollow's realty company. So they started probing me about him, and that sergeant's not even on my shift. The only time I see him was like off duty to hang out. So they started asking like, what about the sergeant? What about?
They're asking about if he's running or what his status is. Or
is he going to run? Like, I'm sure he talks to you guys. I'm sure Michael mentioned that he might want to run to these guys. You know, this guy works for him. I'm sure he knows everything.
And let me just stop right there, because people don't. When I talk about mental health and the stress of work and all this stuff that's going on, people that haven't been through what you're talking about right now, they're oblivious. The guys that are like fucking sitting under trees and like school resource, and I hate talking shit, but the guys who are not involved in like the everyday, like get down like you are, like dog bites. And when you're in there and all that's going on, that is one of the most stressful situations a cop can be in, because like you just said, you're worried about losing your dog. You're worried about your career. You build a bond. You're a hardworking dude. You're doing wild shit that, you know, you're going to need the agencies back at some point. Like, we're all going to make a mistake or we're going to do something minor, but to put you in that situation, this is the stuff I talk about that people don't get, is the mental health disaster that this job creates. And that environment that you're talking about, just that meeting alone is getting me like, I can only imagine what's going through your head, the sleep you probably lost, like all the stress, the years of your life you probably left in that room. And that's when I talk about shitty admin and treating people like garbage and not caring. This is the prime example. So I want people to understand, when I say those things, this is going on constantly at agencies every single day. And nobody really comes on and ever talks about it. This is like groundbreaking cop talk, where we're hearing what really happens at these shitty ass places and what happens to people. So continue. I just want, I'm glad you're talking about it, because people, when you try to tell people this, and this is one conversation we had on the phone, when you try to tell people these stories, it doesn't make sense until you're in this room and you're in that meeting. It doesn't make sense to most people. So I just wanted to say that. Continue, man. I really appreciate you're really
I appreciate you bringing that up and saying that, because
that's what happens. That's what happens. Nobody gets it, man, until you've been through it.
Like even my first shooting, I didn't feel as stressed and bewildered as I did. Like, I felt more calm on canine tracks and shootings than I did in front of these idiots.
And that's what I always say. It's not the shooting. It's not the baby dying. It's not the car crash. It's not the hot call where something goes wrong. Now, if you lose a partner and all that, that's very traumatic.
Of course,
I get it. But minus that, it's not the dead bodies. It's the stuff like this that people go through that take years off their lives and make them think, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what to do. I'm going to go home and kill myself. Like, this is the stuff I will die on the hill, is what causes cops to turn the gun on themselves.
Yeah, I had like one month that sheriff was calling us family because my sergeant that was on my shift took a bullet in the vest on a canine track, and then maybe a month or two later gets called spineless by the number 2 because he allowed the chats to happen.
Just like that.
Just like that. Took a bullet on this man's watch, but now he's spineless. Okay.
Yep. Because he has a fucking opinion and he's calling you out for your fucking bullshit. And that's,
and he didn't do anything. That's the crazy part. He was just in the chat. He was just in the chat. That's it.
Yep. So, sorry about the sidetrack, but I think it's important because we're not here to bitch and complain. We're not crybabies. This is what's happening behind the doors to good cops. And normally good cops just disappear. They can't handle it. They don't want to talk about it. And they just, this is what we need to talk about. And this is what admin is doing to people. And this is what I started this for, is this conversation right here.
So getting into it, and I'm legitimately just saying, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. I came here to apologize for something you said I allegedly wrote. And you're probing me on something that I have nothing, like no information on. Just mere association because I'm close to this guy. The number 2, the undersheriff, and anyway, so he's threatening me with that, if I don't tell them what they want to know, they're going to release this group chat. They're going to release this message that I wrote, put my name on it. And, no law enforcement agency will ever hire you again. You're lucky to get a job at a 7-Eleven. I'm like, they're just staring at him. I'm like, buddy.
Thin blue line, man. Brotherhood.
Yeah, right. Yeah, brother. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, I'm sticking to, like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So then now we're getting to the end of it. They's like, is there anything else you want to say? And I'm like, I just came here to apologize, man. Like, I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know shit. So they were like, okay. So they all, at the conclusion of the meeting, they all say their piece, So you got the one lieutenant. Well, he's commander at the time, and now part of Carmine's entourage. And he used to be a lieutenant in my district. And he looked at me and said, he's like, we just feel betrayed, Rich. And I'm like, dude, like, I can't believe, you know what I mean? Like, dude, like, give your balls a tug. They're really, like,
the same shit he's probably been talking about everybody. Now he feels betrayed.
Like that man honestly would go to the wall for his men. But now,
Bro,
so
I watched everybody do it. I watched an entire agency do it, man. It's fucking sickening when they do it.
And then we go to the guy that used to be in the warrants unit that I used to like work alongside with, finding dangerous wanted men. And he says, you canine guys think you're the victim, but that's not the case. I'm like, holy crap. Okay. Then the undersheriff looks at me and says, the question for you will be what to do with you, because how's it going to look on my authority if nothing happens to you after what you wrote? I'm like, all right, write that check. Okay, cool.
This is a really wild meeting because you're not in an IA and you're just like being idly threatened. Like this is like I've never heard of a situation like this. This is like some fucking mob shit, dude.
And I don't even remember what Carmine said to me, if he even said anything. I think he just said bye. And next thing, so I leave. So they take, so before I leave, the undersheriff says, what phone did you come with? I'm like, why? So he says, well, what phone did you come with? I'm like, my personal. And he just went like all frustrated and shit. Like, it's like, what? Okay. So he tells my commander that's sitting next to me and says, because my work phone's at home. So he tells my commander, hey, can you follow him home and seize his work phone? Like,
this is some shit, dude. This is wild. This is one of the wildest fucking stories I've heard.
My commander follows me home. Right. I go in, I get my work phone. The only thing you're gonna find on my work phone are pictures of dog bites because of documentation. Yeah. That's it. So for purposes of use of force, So I go and hand it as I'm handing the phone over, and I was really close to my commander too. And as I hand the phone over, he goes, "Hey, so they asked me to if I can try and get your personal phone." I'm like, "You fucking kidding me, dude?" Oh my god! At this point,
you could try, but we're gonna have another use of force right here in the driveway.
Well, and more feelings are gonna get hurt, and I will say that now. You don't want to hurt your feelings even deeper. Trust me. So I'm like, "Are you kidding me, man?" He's like, "Yeah," and I'm like,
again, let me just pause again. I don't I'm having a hard time with this because this isn't a criminal investigation, as far as you know. This isn't an internal affairs investigation. You haven't been served on any paperwork. I don't even understand what are they doing? Like, I don't even understand.
Because I hurt the number two.
Give them your fucking phone? Like, yeah, okay. Like,
yeah.
Like what?
I'm not.
That's crazy. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. This is it. This is the wildest one yet.
Yeah. So now I don't have my work phone. I'm scheduled to work the next. I'm scheduled to work that night. So now I try to get my little nap in, and now I got to work from 5P to 5A. So I go to work without a work phone. And normally, if they take your work phone, they'll give you like another one. And the fact that they didn't give me another one was the first indication. I'm like, I'm about to get my head chopped off. So I get off at 5 a.m. My phone is being blown up at like 8:30, 9 a.m. again. I'm like, what? Or like sometime, maybe afternoon. And because I'm in the district at this time, the district lieutenant calls me and says, hey, the patrol command, they said, come to headquarters with your gear ready to work. And that's the first step that's walking up to the guillotine, So I go there, my dog and everything, I'm just kind of like having my final moments with my dog, so to speak. And I get there and I go into the patrol commander's office. So there's two of them. And we sit down. They're like, okay, so the undersheriff is putting you on admin leave. I'm like, for what? And they said, well, supposedly there's an IA coming. I'm like, cool. Where's the IA? Where's IA lieutenant? Where's my papers? Like, you're not just going to put me on IA and then be like, well, maybe, we'll have an IA. Like, this is exactly what he said the day before. So I asked them, I said, you guys have no idea what's going on, do you? And I think everyone did. They were just kind of acting stupid because nothing this big, just goes unnoticed.
No, nobody's talked about it.
Yeah. So they're like, no, we don't know. And I said, well, and I told them what the undersheriff told me, and what the sheriff pulled as well.
But this is where, and I'm gonna stop again. This is where they're all spineless. This is where the men that say all this stuff again about the thin blue line and we have everybody's, but this is where they all fold. They're not going to speak up for your behalf. They're not going to say anything. They're just going to let you get railroaded. and I don't know the story, but I'm probably right that nobody's going to stick up for you at this point. This is guy, and you're in a, how many guys you got? You guys are probably big, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I mean, I off the top
1,000?
of my head, I can tell you, like, probably, yeah, we're
Okay,
huge.
so yeah, so we're much smaller. But so even what I'm getting at is like I worked with all the guys that were involved in all the nonsense that went down with me. I got in a use of force with this guy. I was told to go out and babysit this guy because he got suspended for stealing water on duty. I got told to go help this guy out. Hey, go out there and fix this guy. These are all the guys that I've been through my career with, that I worked with, been in use of force, and then they all fucking just turn into spineless cowards, and they don't do anything but what they're told. And it's like it's the most dishonest, non-brotherhood situation that you'll ever be a part of. And I'm talking a small agency. So I know like you probably work with, there's probably people you have no idea who they are. I know every single person at the agency, not anymore, but I did. So it's just that you're sitting there with these guys who are like, they're not going to buck the system. They're not going to do what's right. It could be completely wrong. And they're going to give you that all, hey man, I got to do what I got to do, man. They're going to give you that bullshit. So that's my 2 cents on that. It's fucking nuts.
It's true. And it gets proven in the next little bit of this.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it gets better. So,
Okay.
yeah, so they, I explained what happened. And I said what the sheriff and the undersheriff said to me, and they're acting all in shock. They're like, no, that's not what we were told. I'm like, all right, well, I already had my resignation letter typed up. Okay, so I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this. So as they're collecting my gear, the patrol commander, comes in the office that they're collecting my gear with my lieutenant in K9 at the time and my commander, special operations. He comes in, literally checks the hallway, like he's clearing it, closes the door, and then finally bids me my brotherly farewell. Says, you're a warrior, you'll survive, you'll land on your feet, and all this stuff. And I'm like,
so
as heartfelt as
but you're only going on admin leave as far as you know right now.
I handed in my resignation letter.
So you handed it to him and then he gave you
because I'm not. I know
as you're going on admin leave and turning your stuff in, you're like, here you go.
Well, before they put me on admin leave, I just handed in my resignation letter because I know I see the writing on the wall.
Okay. I just didn't want to miss that part where you actually handed it in and then they gave you you're a warrior, brother. We're here for you if you ever need anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think that lasted 2 days. Yeah.
That's pretty long.
Yeah, I'm surprised for some of the people that kept in contact with me. You know what I mean?
We talked about that too. It's weird, right? People
I
had no
remember
idea.
that.
People you had no idea who were like even knew you were like reaching out, and then the guys that you almost died with just forget who.
Yeah. Some men I invited in my own home, broke bread with, threw me to the wolves, threw my name to the wolves too.
Yeah. Thin blue line, man. It gets real thin right there. It gets real thin right there, man.
Oh man. Yeah. And this happens 4 days before Christmas. This happens on December 21st.
God, dude. Fuck.
And it shows like, we're in the sheriff's eyes.
Mental health, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the sheriff, apparently in the sheriff's eyes, we're all expendable now. Because if I hurt his buddy's feelings and you stuck your nose in business, you had no business in that. Yeah. And you hurt your own feelings, but I'm a dickhead. Like, come on. Yeah, it was really crazy. Like, not even when I was in like the military, I've never experienced anything like this.
That's what I say, man. Until you've been through it, man, it's impossible to make anybody understand until you've been through it. The only reason I can sit here and almost predict what's going on is because I lived it, man. It's wild. It's wild.
Yep. And then immediately after my meeting, without any notice, the command staff, they call my old shift sergeant and that sergeant I mentioned earlier that worked for Mike Hollow, told them they need to come in for an emergency meeting. Like they better be here. And they gave him the same runaround. They called my sergeant that was shot spineless for allowing that group chat to happen. They
put him on admin leave or they just gave him the talk?
They ain't nothing. You know what they did? They told him, they said, okay, you either keep your stripes, lose your dog, or, you keep your dog and lose your stripes. Like, it's like, yeah. So, no investigation, no IA, no nothing. They were just pissed off, butt hurt, cramping, and they did that to a man that was shot in the line of duty on this man's watch. So then
They don't give
Yeah.
a fuck, dude. They don't give a
No.
fuck.
No, expendable. I learned that day what expendable was, and I even in the military, like I said, in the military, I never felt expendable until that day,
Mhm.
and that was one of the hardest lessons I ever had to learn.
It is.
And then they pulled the same thing with the following sergeant. Same thing. You can keep your stripes or lose your dog, or you can keep your dog but lose your stripes. Like it's
What a
just for being
fucking
associated with
what a
Mike
fucking
Hollow.
joke, man. What a joke.
hmm That's
I mean, that's
9 years.
that's illegal, dude. That's what we're talking about. That's
and
illegal.
and no attorney wanted to touch that for some reason. No attorney wanted to touch it
I told you,
because
man. It's tough in Florida, dude. It's tough, man.
it's rough. And what made it worse was like I got picked up by a neighboring agency, and anytime I vocalized what happened to me, it ain't even like disrespectful. I just wrote it on in a comment. Marceno would call my sheriff at the time that I was working for, crying, literally fuming, like probably punching the air. It's like, why is he saying this? It doesn't need to be said. We never tried to hurt him. It's already done. He has a job. Like, are you kidding me?
Bro, it's fucking nuts, man.
It's
It's nuts. It's nuts. I lived it, man. I lived it, dude.
Mhm.
It's unbelievable what these people pull off. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then they
And
make themselves a victim. And it's like you're
that's
fucking nuts, man. Like
you know,
mine, like I said, I'm not gonna talk about myself, but it's the same. And
well, I'm glad you get it. Honestly, like that, you understand. You're like, I see like you're shocked and disbelief, but at the same time, you're like, I'm really not shocked. Like,
but you can't like I told you on the phone, I don't care how many times I tell people that I worked with that still talk to me or I say it out loud. It's like going to another country and then trying to explain the culture to everybody. And they're like, oh yeah, I get it. Like, or I went on a cruise and you've never been on a cruise and I'm telling you how cool it is. You can kind of see it, but you don't really get it
right.
until you've been through it. You're just like, when you hear your story, most people are gonna go, yeah, no, they don't do that. They probably pepped it up a little bit. They were not willing. These motherfuckers are nuts, dude. Like they will do anything and they will cover it up. They'll lie. They'll cheat. They'll fabricate. They'll do everything they can to discredit you. And people don't believe it. And it's like, these are elected officials. These are 2 and 3 highest ranking people in agencies. These are the guys that'll ding you for cussing at a bad guy or speeding or being late to court, or these are guys are going to tell you about accountability and how important it is to be a good guy and a good person and all that. Like, the idiot that's in charge of my agency screamed at everybody on a baseball field the day he took over about not having affairs and not being an infidelity, and then had a fucking massive affair 2 years later and blew the whole county sideways and told everybody that first day, if you have an affair on your wife, you're going to be fired. That's what he told everybody. He didn't fire himself, if you can believe that. He just went ahead and continued his career as he blew the agency sideways. So they're just nuts. They're absolutely fucking insane. And it is. It's not until you've been through it and seen it happen with your own eyes. People think they think we're crazy, but you're not. I know you're not.
On that day, 9 years went down the drain.
Yeah.
Like
Just like that.
Gone. Patrol deputy, FTO, K9, just gone. Didn't mean shit.
Over a fucking group chat that was illegally obtained.
Yeah. And
pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and that's Marceno for you. Everybody, they're like, oh wow, he's great and all that crap. Like, if you only fucking knew. And now that I'm on the outside, like people are like, oh, because you're on the outs and they did you wrong, you're gonna be like disgruntled or having a view. I'm like,
here, I'll prove. Let me just pull this up real quick. This is just to show you that this, like, this is the guy we're talking about right here. This is the kind of stuff he's got in his closet. I don't want to sit here and talk about stuff. Again, I get rumors. I get people DMing me about this. There's an investigation, some rumor about paying for somebody's surgery or something. And I know that, I don't know. I know for a fact he made a big deal about, his fancy little videos about racing. We're going to take you to jail for racing. And then he got caught racing his car against another car. It's just, they can do whatever they want. And I said it, then I didn't believe it, and then I believed it, and I don't want to believe it. But the bottom line is, until we do more of this and get these stories out and somebody listens, like the governor or these representatives or the people that vote these morons into office, you can't believe the TikToks. You can't believe the bullshit the agency throws on the fucking Facebook. You have to grab the guys and talk to them. And I remember starting way back, and I'm sure you're gonna remember this. 9 years there. There's probably a couple guys you met when you first started that you're like, oh, this disgruntled motherfucker, he's late, I don't want to do that. And I said this to myself: those guys were good cops at one point, and all this happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're there 21 years, 22 years, and they're fucking miserable. And you're like, yeah, I see it. I did 23 years. And now I go, yeah, I know how they got there. Now I know how they got there. It wasn't a call, wasn't a report they took, wasn't a burglary, wasn't a late fucking DUI, wasn't a rollover crash where everybody died. It was what you just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And it was worse. Just think about how bad it was before social media, back in the days when the sheriff could just come in and fire guys, and you know, at least there's some protection now, like some.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
so for people that, I'm gonna give you a chance to bitch and just air it out. For the people that say this guy's a good guy, like, give it to him. Give it to him. People that are gonna say, "Oh, you're full of shit," just give it to him. This administration.
The administration in general.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So yeah, they don't give a fuck. I'll tell you. You know, everyone's expendable. You know, they come in with these speeches of like brotherhood and, you know, we're family and all that stuff. You say that to one person, but then the sheriff just says like, you know, if I want to save my ass, I better come clean. No, that's not family. Okay. And these people, they think they can do what the hell they want, and they get away with it because nobody stands up. It's actually in LCSO policy, the County Sheriff's Office policy, that if there's something illegal, immoral going on that or shocks the moral conscience of the agency or its image, it's in policy that another officer, if they're witnessing this, they're supposed to intervene. Nobody fucking stepped in and said, they're like, this might be illegal, guys. They're like, you can't be doing that. Everyone just went with the flow, held his pocket like a little bitch, and just went along with the flow.
Well, yeah, and it sounds a lot like, you know, coercion and bully, all the stuff we can't do to a suspect. It is what they did to you. Every technique they used on you would have been illegal and thrown out in court. And I try to associate it with that for people on like basic terms. Like, you look at the cops and go, look at that guy. He's being a mean. He's lying to that guy. He's doing all this stuff, and that gets thrown out. You can't do that. You can't coerce. You can't lie. You can't threaten. You can't walk up to a bad guy and say, I'm going to break your neck, or you're going to tell me what happened, or I'm going to go to your house and like tell your wife you cheated on her if you don't tell me what happened, or I'm going to do X, Y, Z, stripes with your dog. Like, do you want your car towed, or do you want me to beat your ass, or do you want to go to jail? Like, we can't do that. And those are the options they're essentially giving you in that non-internal affairs, non-official meeting. And like you just said, somebody in that room is, by the code of ethics of the state of Florida and the officer ethics and all that bullshit policy we go through, somebody in that room is supposed to go, wait a second, we can't do this. What we're doing is illegal, immoral, and ethical, and nobody does.
No.
And nobody does it. And they're going to look at you and be like, oh, yeah, well, we tried to help him. We gave him an option. Yeah, you want my fucking head cut off, or you want to lose a leg? Like, how do you, like, you want your left arm or right arm cut off? Like, and think about it. Like, think about your pet. Like, we talk about the dog, losing your dog. That must have been traumatic, dude. Like, I can't imagine, like, I had to put a dog down at, 6 years old. That's essentially what you did. You had to give your dog away and give your dog back. That's traumatic. That was 4 days before Christmas.
Yep.
And guess what? Not one of them motherfuckers lost an inch of sleep. Nope. Not one of them. Not one of them. They all told each other what a piece of shit you were and went to sleep that night and had a great time.
Yep. They went home, lived life normally.
So, so the guy, your buddy there, the one they wanted all the dirt on, he ends up running. What year was that?
Yeah.
He runs for sheriff?
Yeah, Mike Hollow. Yeah. He runs against Carmine.
This last one?
Yeah, his last election. Yep.
Unfortunately lost.
It was, he went in as a write-in, just with the timing of everything but to get all the information out was more important.
So he was watching like campaigns and or interviews with the news and getting this stuff out.
He was, and he put everything out to the media. He put out all this, all the information, the corruption. He could definitely tell you a lot more than I could.
What is your knowledge of like this FBI stuff? Do you have any knowledge of that, or like I'm not over there, so
just waiting. Honestly, just waiting. Like, we're just waiting for something to get done.
Is there's something has to do with, is it money, fraud, money, something?
Yeah, it was like money laundering. like paying with taxpayers' funds and all that.
Yeah, and then like I said, there was another. I had 2 or 3 messages, and this is not me quoting. This is people that messaged me saying stuff like sources that said something about paying for a dispatcher's surgery out of the department funds or doing something.
You know, that may or may not have happened.
That's kinda, I mean, that seems like that seems unethical, immoral, or not right.
yeah, but again, who's gonna say anything? You know, who did, like, how dare you turn your
Who
your
was the
tongue
sheriff
against
over there that had the gun, put the gun to his head? This ain't him, right?
the what?
Wasn't there a sheriff that got in a fight with his wife and like fucking pulled over the side of the road over on the West Coast somewhere? And you remember that like a year ago? I can't remember who it was. It wasn't this
Huh.
guy. There was
Yeah,
a
no,
sheriff that got, or a chief or a sheriff that got in a fight with his wife, a domestic, and he pulled over on the side of 95 or something and put a fucking gun to it, but it wasn't this guy.
yeah.
So for the people that like I said, they say, why do you say he's a crook? So hopefully if you watch this, you will understand when I say the word crook. He may not be out, well, he may be laundering money. We don't know. Maybe misusing department funds, but to treat your people like this is, you're a crook. You're using your position, you're leveraging your position as a boss to me, and again, I don't have the paperwork. It sounds like the search of the phone is highly illegal, to go outside the scope of what they're looking for. And then to use that information collected for an administrative threatening session is what the best words I can come up
Yeah.
with seems. Now, how about this? What's your discipline like? I'm gonna ask you on the spot. In your career, have you been suspended, demoted, anything crazy, anything?
Nope.
Okay, so this is your first ever run-in with the agency to do anything to do with any type of IA or admin leave.
Yeah.
And you've been involved in high-risk shit and never had any use of force complaints. Well, I'm sure complaints, but no founded use of force IAs, no.
I was never put in an IA for use of force, success force, anything of that nature. I've never been. You pull up my disciplinary file, you request it, it's blank. It says this page intentionally left blank.
And then you went to another agency, and since I've left that one?
Yes.
Okay, so you're out of law enforcement currently.
Yes.
Are you out of it on your own accord, or because, I mean, you don't have to answer that. I mean, I'm just asking, and was your choice to get out of law enforcement? Is it something you like don't want to do, or was there just a situation, or how did that happen?
Well, right now, just kind of, I'll say, in the transitional period, you know.
Okay.
Plus, getting in a motorcycle accident kind of hinders job performance.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, injury. Okay, yeah, and we talk about this in the counterculture stuff, and part of the counterculture network. Sure, look at me.
Yep.
There's life outside of law enforcement, and I know that companies treat people crazy, and I know like that stuff, but I will say this: I don't think there's anywhere on earth. Well, I'm sorry, anywhere in the United States, like a company or corporation that's going to treat you like you get treated in law enforcement. It's just a different animal. It's a level of false brotherhood and thinking everybody's family. They create that environment, and when, like you said, when you find out that it's not really the case and it doesn't really apply, I don't think that can happen at a bank or a Target or like a stock trading company or Amazon. I just don't. I don't, unless you're that Coldplay fucking CEO.
Yeah.
Then it could go sideways. But I mean, it just, because of the nature of our job, just like the military, we're both in the military, just like the nature of both jobs, you're drawn together by trauma bonding and all this, nonsense and group chats. And you just are drawn together. And when you really think as a young cop that every single person wearing the uniform is your friend, and they're always going to have your back, and they care about you because they tell you they do. And then, like we discussed, you find out like 3 guys do out of like thousands. And you're like, wow, I was wrong about this one. So
yeah,
that's
and
quite
all that stuff, all that song and dance, the smoke and mirrors, and how much, you remember that he was going on how much he loves animals, and like, he was always taking pictures with our canine unit. He allowed number 2 to say this to my sergeant, that he's like, you canine guys think you're something special. I don't know. All you do is attach a leash to a dog and go for a walk. I can pull someone out of academy to do that. So, if Carmine, just kind of allows that to be said, and like that sentiment to be put out there, I don't give a damn.
So what year did you leave? 23, you said?
23, I left Lee
Right
County
before
Sheriff's.
Christmas. Okay. And
Yeah.
did they redo the canine unit and it's all back together again?
No, hell no, it's worse. Like,
Well, I'm saying, did they have a canine unit though?
yeah, it's called. Well, they're not a canine unit because they're canine handlers, so they're
So
deputies
they're
with
assigned to a
dogs.
shift? Okay. And they're
Assigned to the
shift.
district. Yeah, it's not anywhere near
They're
what it used
squad
to be.
anymore.
They're not.
And that's weird because most agencies have like a unit that trains together and works together and they
That
kind of
training. I mean, they train, but it's nothing like how we were getting top tier training, and we were on point. Lee County Sheriff's Office was known. Our canine unit was known, and then because of what happened, now they're just kind of pissed at all canine handlers, and they just disbanded the unit. And they don't want a canine unit because they don't want a clique to form to have a reoccurrence of what happened. Like,
yeah, they called ours the SWAT guys, the SWAT mafia. There was a bunch of soft soy boys around the agency got their butt hurt about the original old school SWAT guys, not this new disaster, but they got their feelings hurt and they used to call SWAT mafia. And I guess that's kind of what you guys were, like the canine mafia, I guess. And they disbanded that. And now
yeah.
they're salty and they don't want to
All
reform.
all dudes that were never handlers probably couldn't hack it or make it. You know what I mean? These were desk jockeys. A lot of them were just like stuck behind the desk, just push papers. Never their hardest day or more stressful day was Starbucks getting their caramel macchiato order wrong. So don't talk. I'm being faced with like men that couldn't even like hold a candle in my shadow. The only time they ever drew their weapon was on paper.
Yeah.
Never had another person that wanted to kill them. So
now that's that's what they do. Our agency has a massive dog thing. Everybody's got a dog. They bought a bunch of the like stress dogs, and this guy's got a dog, and that guy's got a dog. Canine unit. I mean, they're decent guys. But it should be a unit. It should be like a cohesive unit. It should be they should train just like a SWAT team trains. A canine unit should train, and it's unfortunate that it's still a continued holdover or effect of a fucking guy getting his feelings hurt. I'm gonna go out on a limb. If you guys are talking about him, he's probably a piece of shit. I mean, I don't know.
He is. Yeah.
But I mean, my old deputy chief was the greatest dude ever with Lonnie Rich. He was the deputy chief. He got ran out and he was amazing. He was the third in charge. So I know guys can get that high that are good people. But the second in charge was a coward and the first in charge was a coward. And then you got like a non-coward and it's like,
well, the number 2 in charge was his little buddy boy. The number 2 was a cop in Naples PD, FTO'd Marceno. So I hope that explains some shit.
Yeah. So
then he could. I guess I don't know if he couldn't handle the stress of being on Naples streets, and he became an attorney. So our agency is being run by an attorney.
Well, so we did that once too.
It worked out lovely for everybody.
So,
I'll tell you.
Well, it's. This is what needs to be talked about. So I really appreciate coming on, and I'm sure, like I said, you're not a spotlight guy. I can tell you're just a guy that goes to work, does a job, and goes home. Maybe talks a little shit in the group chat, but
a little bit there.
Did you ever find out what it was they were like digging for?
No, I know what it was. I'm just waiting for them to like man up, like they said they would, and release it. Like they've yet to do that. I'm waiting for one of these clowns to say it. I'm getting impatient.
It's 2 years almost now, and they still haven't.
No, that just went through the rumor mill. You know what I mean? They're like, and anybody that asks me, I mean, I'll tell them, and they all have the same reaction. Bro, they laugh their ass off. But when they're in front of white shirts in command, they're like, oh my god, how could he say that? It's like, but they threatened to release those messages. I'm waiting.
I still don't know how they can. I don't know how it's legal.
Because they can't.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can either. I don't see how it's legal.
Yeah, because then they would have to divulge how they came upon that.
Wild.
Yep.
Well, Rich, I appreciate it, man. I thank you for coming on. I really applaud you for coming out and giving, a story that most people won't ever tell. What happened to you usually and what normally happened, I'm sure because you're not working is part of it, because if you're still working in another agency, I had another guy come on, he got shot in the line of duty. We talked about that, but he actually got hosed by an agency, went to another agency, and he was hesitant to talk about the old agency. I'm sure that would be similar case, but now that you're transitioning, you're not in law enforcement, it's good to hear somebody talk about this stuff, get this stuff out. You've got other people I know I'm going to talk to. We've talked about that can verify what you've said. And this is what happens. For everybody watching, this is what happens. This is what good guys go through. And Rich, I really applaud you for coming on and talking about it.
I really appreciate you having me on and hearing me out, man. Thank you. Can't thank you
Yep.
enough.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, man.
Okay.
I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back!